Are discussing the three greatest barriers to personal and world transformation. Oh yes. And this is a very important topic, and I wanted to discuss it today because we are growing incredibly fast. Our last Thursday live stream, we were unboxing our 100,000 subscriber Silver YouTube Award. So we're at over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube right now. And on Facebook, we're at over 500,000 followers. So we are growing extremely fast, and what I really want to impress upon you is that this isn't just a channel or a page or anything like that. We are the beginning of a new consciousness and a new phase of existence in the world. So I really want you to understand that and to get excited about the fact that you are part of it. You are the first bloom of a new garden. You are on the cutting edge of consciousness. We are a part of history. This is something that's happening right now, and even though the world is in a crazy place, know that you are a part of history by seeing the birth of something new. So because of that, because we are the pioneers, it's important to understand what the barriers are for a new world, but not only a new world, but also for personal transformation. So world transformation and personal transformation. We need to know the greatest barriers. And the reason why we need to know both is because in order to have world transformation, well, the people must go through a transformation as well, which involves self-transformation. Because what is a world but the aggregate of its people? So we must understand the three greatest barriers to our own personal self-transformation, and as well as the three greatest barriers for the birth of a new world and what we can do about this. So that's going to be the topic today. And we're going to see that the three greatest barriers are bad religion, bad science, and bad government. We're going to take a look at each one of these and see how it impedes you and what we can do about it. And don't automatically think that, you might know what this means, because a lot of people may think that they do, but it's much more complicated than what most people think. People come to us and they think that we believe certain things and have certain ideas, but then it turns out to be much more than they have possibly imagined. So we're going to take a look at each one of these here and see how that every single one of these toxic systems, such as bad religion having to do with, the Abrahamic religions, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, but as well as a lot of New Age systems as well. They try and put a barrier between you and your divinity, right? They try and tell you that God is something apart from you, separate from you, or that there's some element of God that you can't comprehend. So we're going to take a look at that and see what we can do about it and why it is such a barrier. We're going to look at bad science, and we're going to see what we mean by bad science isn't what the majority of people think. People think that we're anti-science. We're not anti-science. What we are is anti-bad science. We're pro-positive science, right? We're anti-empirical materialist science, and we're pro-rationalist and idealist science. Our science, the science of the future, ontological mathematics. So we're going to see how the science of today, the current materialist paradigm that says that everything is matter, puts a barrier, once again, between you and your divinity. And then we're going to look at bad government, which really, the root of bad government is who's ruling the world. Because it all stems from them, the rich elite rulers, and how the system of capitalism creates a system of control by the rich elite. And we're going to see once again, this puts a damper on you and your divinity, because once again, capitalism and the mentality of the rich elite creates you into, and everyone at large, except for a very small few, into a slave society. And it strips you of your purpose, it strips you of your meaning, and you are no longer reaching for self-actualization. So we're going to see each one of these systems and how it hinders you in your development. And they work hand in hand. All of these systems, bad religion, bad science, and bad government, work hand in hand to suppress your divinity. We're going to see that we, though, have the antidote to each one of these problems, and how each one of our systems, instead of suppressing your divinity, works hand in hand to express your divinity. So we're going to look at the antidote to each one of these sections and how we can understand it for both personal transformation and world transformation. And again, the reason why that I need you guys to listen to this and to understand this is because we are at the forefront of this new consciousness. We are the vanguards. We are the liberators. We are the first. We are the first. So really impress upon that, reflect upon that, and let that impress upon your mind that you are a part of history, and this is a moment. This is not simply a channel. This is not simply a page. This is a world historic moment and event that will usher in a new world. We are planting the seeds for a future world, and it's up to us as the planters to start working on that now, both ourselves and the world at large. So I'm really excited to get into this with all you here, but let me jump into the comments and say hello to everyone before we really get started. So let's see. Hello, Megan. So good to see you. Big shout out to our moderators, Megan, Rowan, Susan, and I don't know if Azur is here, but hello if you are. Clarissa, so nice to see you. May, Lord, Tammy, Susie. Hey, Tammy, so nice to see you. Moonbat, Claire, Faith, so good to see you as well. Faith does awesome Hyperion live streams every week herself. So you can check that out. Oh, Maria, thank you so much. Maria has just super chatted. $80. Thank you so much. What does Maria say? Sorry, but I have a terrible headache, so I won't stay, but I wanted to give my support. This is for the new world. Thank you so very much, Maria. I'm sorry you have a headache. I hope that improves quickly. That is not fun at all. So I hope you feel better, and thank you so very much for helping us wake up the world. Once again, guys, remember you can use the super chat feature to ask questions as we go along, and that helps tremendously with my work and what I do. So big shout out to everyone who is able to do that. And let's send, what shall we send to Maria? Let's send some tri-skills for Maria, and I hope you feel better soon. Aaron Banfill, I hope you feel better, my friend. All right, so we're about to get started here. We have those tri-scales going for Maria. If you're on Facebook, please share this video. I highly recommend coming over to YouTube. That's where I interact in the comments. And that's where everything will be going down. Make sure you smash like as we go, because this is going to be good. Devin Green, thank you for helping us wake up the world. I appreciate it, my friend. Someone wants to know if I speak Spanish. Unfortunately, no, I do not. I do not speak Spanish. Randall Roth, thank you for helping us wake up the world, says, I have an odd thing to ask. Is there a possibility things could end up like it did in the 100 and we end up being the ones sent back? I'm not sure what you mean, my friend. I don't know if the 100, what you mean by the 100, if that's a film or movie or a book or something like that. But let me know exactly what you mean. If perhaps you mean getting sent back, such as reincarnation, I think you'll find that many of us actually have chosen to incarnate here, to help usher in a new world and transform the world. So, I mean, really, what a lot of people don't understand is that people want to reach a higher level of consciousness so that they don't have to incarnate anymore. But the sort of ironic thing about this is that once someone does reach a sufficient level of consciousness such that they don't have to incarnate anymore, once one does reach that level, the ironic thing is that usually one would then choose to incarnate, because once you do reach that level of consciousness, you realize that your evolution is bound up with the evolution of the universe itself. So then you want to make the choice to incarnate to help others evolve. So this also goes to it. This has to do with Maslow's extended hierarchy of needs. I'm going to do a whole video on this at one point. But if you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, this sort of applies, right? So what Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it says that every individual has certain needs that need to be met, like food and shelter, love and affection, and it has these different levels. And one of the highest levels is self-actualization. So actualizing yourself, becoming a better person, more expressive, more evolved. But higher than self-actualization in the extended hierarchy is helping others to self-actualize. So once again, the interesting thing is that, once someone does reach a certain level of consciousness where they perhaps can make the conscious choice to not incarnate, they have understood that, well, you desire to help others evolve because you realize from that absolute perspective, remember the Abraxian level of consciousness, where we all share the same absolute I, that you are me and I am you. And so my evolution is bound up with your evolution. I want you all to evolve and succeed because your success is my success. We are all from the absolute. Remember, from the monadic perspective, we're all individuals. We're all individual minds from the monadic perspective. But from the absolute Abraxian perspective, we are truly one. From that particular perspective. Remember, we can switch between perspectives. And from that perspective, of course, I would want you to succeed and I want you to evolve. And so I'm going to do my very best to lift you up. And this is why we need a world based on Abraxian consciousness. Because in a world based on Abraxian consciousness, all the hate, racism, homophobia, sexism, and all that sort of melts away. Because why would I try and screw you up? Why would I try and why would I try and impede you in some way? Because to impede you would be to impede myself. So it would be self-sabotage. So do you see, that's why we really want to usher in that sort of Abraxian consciousness. So the entire world goes there. Oh, holy shit, Tammy. Thank you so much. Let me see. Hold on real quick. I want to give some shout outs to Amanda Smith. Thank you for helping us wake up the world. Randall Roth says I can elaborate in a message on Patreon. Yeah, please do, and perhaps in the secret live stream we're having after this, we can discuss it more as well. Tios, thank you so much for helping us wake up the world. Tios says I support schools to have classes for studying the true nature of existence, ontological mathematics, and collective consciousness. Yes, we need a reform of the education system that not only emphasizes teaching children what they truly need to learn, but has a custom education system for each individual so that it's not a one-size-fits-all. Right now, the school system churns out robots. And again, these ideas should be obvious. Like, come on, guys, can you just please not turn kids into robots? It should be obvious. But this world is so backwards, they turn kids into robots. There's wars and violence. The planet's in a terrible state, and what should be obvious isn't. Our ideas seem radical to people, but really from the Abraxian state, it's common sense. From the Abraxian perspective and the Abraxian state, it's common sense. So, and then Tammy, thank you so much. So, Tammy donated $100 through Super Chat. Thank you so much, Tammy. You are awesome. Thank you for helping us wake up the world. Once again, that means a lot to me and is how I'm able to do my work. So that. Your support is awesome. What should we send to Tammy? Let's do the sign of. Let's send the sign of Nuterra for Tammy, and you get a color change. Let's do a green color. We have our Slytherin colors for Tammy. All eyes. Thank you for helping us wake up the world. I have not done any videos on that, so let's get those. The sign of Nuterra going. For Tammy. Excellent. Joey Ray says, love what you're doing, Morgue. I'm currently reading The Metaphorical Suicide, life-changing. I'm glad that you are enjoying The Metaphorical Suicide. That's the first book that I wrote. It's about destroying your old self so you can create your new self, which is extremely important. All right, so let's continue here, guys. Remember to smash like as we go. And you can use the super chat feature to ask questions. So, oh, well, let me answer a question here first. Birds of Prey, thank you for helping us wake up the world, says trans folk and Hyperionism, question mark. Which I know accepts, which is amazing, but trying to find which trans identity falls under Hyperionism, but always getting confused about it. Can you explain it a bit? So yes, we absolutely support trans. We support the LGBTQ plus community wholly and completely. I myself identify as non-binary. We are 100% supportive of that. Now, I'm not sure what you mean by trying to find which trans identity falls under Hyperionism. Are you asking if Hyperionism is a trans identity? Because it's not in and of itself. You can identify any which way you so please and be a part of Hyperionism. You can be trans, you can be straight, you can be non-binary, you can be whatever you so will and be a part of Hyperionism. Now, what you may mean, I perhaps, is that we know that the mind itself, remember from the monadic perspective, our avatars, we can be whatever we so will. Our mind, from the monadic perspective, has no fixed gender. So we're on a constant state of evolution and transformation across many, 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 many lifetimes. In its fundamental state, the mind has no fixed gender. Through its evolution in the holos, it may end up preferring one gender to another. Absolutely. It may prefer to express itself as one gender or another. But underneath it all, the mind has no fixed gender. You are able to shape yourself into whatever you so will. So, again, it's whatever you so will. I'm not 100% sure what you're asking, but hopefully that answers it. She-Wolf, thank you for helping us wake up the world. Says Hyperionism in schools. Why not? Yes, we need to have ontological mathematics, interstar actualization, and all the fundamentals taught in schools. That's absolutely necessary. And logic and reason must be taught so that people know how to think properly. We need schools that teach children how to think rather than what to think. And we also need school systems that are geared towards every individual child and their personal personality. So each child should be taught in a way that is conducive to how they learn. Some children learn visually, some children learn through reading, some children learn better alone and by themselves, some children learn in a group. So we need a custom education system that is geared towards the needs of every child, every individual child. Aquarian Essence, thank you for helping us wake up the world, says, I just did a show last night on transsexuality and a third gender. That sounds very interesting. Very, very interesting indeed. I would love to see that. Aaron Banfill, thank you for helping us wake up the world. I appreciate that, my friend. That's awesome. Thank you for the $50 super chat. Says, I'm struggling with addiction. Can you help? You are the only person who helps. Please reach out on a personal note. Well, first of all, my friend, I'm sorry to hear that. I know that addiction can be a huge difficulty. So what addiction usually stems from. Now, I know, first of all, I want to say that, I'm not a licensed psychologist or anything like this. So, once again, make sure you talk to healthcare professionals, make sure you see a counselor, a psychologist. I highly recommend looking into seeing a Jungian psychoanalyst, okay? So our ideas aren't exactly the same when it comes to psychology. Our ideas aren't exactly the same as Jungian psychology, but it's close. It's the closest thing that mainstream has to it. So I would highly recommend looking into a Jungian psychoanalyst, and because addiction usually stems from, there could be a number of reasons, but it usually stems from your shadow self. So something in your deep unconscious that is there and stirring, and addiction to substances or whatever it is usually stems from trying to alleviate that shadow content that you have, that you aren't even aware of, most likely, that you aren't even aware of. So what usually is done is, finding the root of the problem, why this addiction exists, then sublimation. So being able to find positive ways to replace that addiction and things like that. So once again, I highly recommend seeing if you can find a Jungian psychoanalyst, because again, they're not 100% the same as what we teach with regard to psychology, but it's very, very close, and they'll be able to work with you and talk to you about shadow work and things like that. I can't wait for, in the future, once we are, once we're extremely blowing up and we have locate Hyperion collectives all over the world, I can't wait till we can have our own licensed psychologists teaching inner star actualization, so that, you could actually see, say, a licensed Hyperion psychoanalyst that is aware of inner star actualization, our monadic selves, the Abraxian absolute consciousness, and things like that. I cannot wait for that to be able to happen. And that, it may not be that far away. We are growing so incredibly fast. It's amazing. So someone says, is that why I'm addicted to porn? So first of all, porn isn't necessarily a bad thing in and of itself. It can be a bad thing if it turns into addiction. But yes, that's very, very possible. There's a number of reasons of why someone might be addicted to porn. First of all, this world is extremely repressive when it comes to sexuality. So there are so many people that aren't getting their sexual needs fulfilled, and that becomes shadow content. And sexual content, it makes up a huge portion of the shadow. Huge portion of the shadow. I talk about that a lot in my book, The Path of Shadow. And so because you have this world that has this huge suppression of sexuality, that's going to cause so many problems, which can lead to, porn addiction. Again, porn in and of itself isn't necessarily bad if it's done in moderation. That's a whole topic unto itself, because if you do a lot of it, it of course is bad, and there's different types as well. But anyway, without getting into the nitty-gritty there, because that would be a whole topic in and of itself, yes, shadow content can definitely be the cause of that, and repressed sexual shadow content leads to so many problems in the world. Even resentment towards women, or men, and it also leads to violence. I can't tell you, in the case of many religions such as Christianity and Islam, they repress your sexuality, and this has led to wars in the past, and killing and murder because of shadow projection. When you label sex as something sinful and wrong, it gets suppressed into your shadow, and then you shadow project and want to eliminate, through violence, whatever reminds you of that. So then you will label, people who commit sexual acts as sinners, and then want to eliminate them. And this is why throughout history we've had many religious ideologies tied towards, killing people who are free with their sexuality and labeling them as witches or heretics or blasphemers or what have you. All right, I am just taking a look at the comments. So there are so many good questions here today. Brandy, thank you for helping us wake up the world. I appreciate it. And you guys are asking some really good questions, and I haven't even gotten, started discussing the main topic. But that ties to what we're talking about. You notice how I said that bad religion, bad science, bad government are the three greatest obstacles. And we're talking a lot now. We talked about sexual repression, which creates shadow content, which leads to not only suppressing your individual self and your growth through addiction problems and things like that, and being able to experience the world in the way you want, but also it leads to war, violence, murder, bloodshed, all these horrible things. So even, just not even trying to be on topic, but you can see how it relates right away. That religion, bad religion, negative religion, suppressive and repressive, right? Suppressive and repressive religion, rather than expressive, is a huge obstacle for both yourself and the world. Someone says, okay, this is a great question here. Is being asexual repression of some kind? No. If you are asexual, if you don't have sexual desire and you don't want to, that's totally fine. That is totally fine. You can, if you're an asexual, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. It's not like you have to engage in sex. That's crazy. It's your life. And so if you want to experience it. And if you don't, you don't. Just make sure that it's really what you want. And it's not because a religion has told you that, or societal conditioning has told you that, or your parents have told you that, or a repressive morality has instilled that upon you. Make sure that it's really and truly who you are and what you want. And if it is, fantastic. There's nothing wrong with being asexual. For those who don't know, asexuality, well, there's a lot of different types of asexuality, but it's in general someone who doesn't experience sexual attraction. Some asexuals enjoy sex, some don't. It's a spectrum. But in general, asexuality is someone that does not experience a sexual attraction. Aaron Banfield, thank you for helping us wake up the world, says, can you call me, please? You are amazing. Thank you, my friend. I'm glad you enjoy my work. Unfortunately, I can't call people for a couple of reasons. I mean, if my number were to get out there, that would be crazy. And also, I just, there's a lot of people that want my number and things like that. And then I wish I had time to be able to interact with everyone like that. I wish I had the time, but then I wouldn't be able to create videos and do things that I do. Zero, thank you for helping us wake up the world, says a whole live stream about sex would be great. Yes, I agree. We should do that. It's getting, yeah, we are talking a lot about that, and a whole live stream on that topic I think would be necessary, because it's a huge problem in the world. People don't understand how much people think sex is so, like, it's at the root of a lot of problems that we have today. I mean, sex is an incredibly powerful force that is the movement and the impetus of so much of existence and all we do, even if it doesn't seem like it from the outside. It is an internal motivator, a goal. It does a lot. It's a huge component, and people need to realize this, understand it, accept it, and do something about it, rather than ignoring it, because then it becomes repressive shadow content. Sandra Hanan, so good to see you. Says, hello everyone, I'm pretty late, but glad to be here amongst like-minded folk. You rock, Morgue. Thank you, Sandra. I'm glad that you made it. Oh, by the way, guys, real quick, I want to say, remember that we are going to have a secret supporters live stream only, a secret patron supporter live stream right after this. And in the secret supporters live stream, I'm going to reveal what is behind this. Because, yeah, guess what? This thing moves. So I'm going to show you what's behind the black wall in the secret supporters live stream. And I always enjoy the secret live stream, patrons only live stream. I'll put the link to support in the comments right now. I just put it down there. It's the best way to support. You're going to get access to our secret weekly live streams, and we're having one right after this. And yeah, you're going to see what's behind the black wall. All right, so let's, okay, so here, what I want to impress upon you, once again, someone says, can non-donors ask questions? Yes, of course. I've answered a few non-donors' questions that they've asked. Of course you can. It's just this gets my attention. quite easily. There's a lot of comments in here. Whoa, is it doing a weird... Oh, it's doing a weird... Look, there's a glitch. There's a glitch in the matrix. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Can you? Oh, no. That's just on my end. Ignore that. So, we're talking about... Oh, Angela says I'm taking time out of my vacation. I could not miss the live. I'm glad you missed it. Or, made it. Not missed it. Made it. So... The three greatest barriers, we've already even just looked at why bad religion is part of negative growth upon you and the world, because sexual repression is a consequence of bad religion. So we have bad religion, bad science, and bad government. And so what are the antidote to each of these things? Well, the antidote to bad religion is Hyperianism. And why is that? Once again, because bad religion is suppressive to you and your divinity. Hyperianism is expressive to you and your divinity. What is suppressive about religion? Well, we just talked about how it suppresses your sexuality, but it's suppressive to your divinity as well. And of course, sex is divine. So it's suppressive to all of these things, and it puts a biggest thing that it is it puts a barrier between you and God. It says God is something outside of you. You must live your life to worship and please God, but there's this unbridgeable gap between you and God. And Hyperianism, hyper means higher. It's all about going higher and actualizing your higher self. This is why we have inner star actualization as well. Your shadow self, your mirror self, and power self. We talked a lot about the shadow self already and how one element is sexuality, but there's a lot more to the shadow self. Also the power self, the mirror self and the power self to actualize your higher self. And Hyperianism shows that you are an individual monadic mind with the power to evolve into an individual God. And then that also from the absolute or Abraxian perspective, we are the God, we are the universe, we are all reality. So whereas bad religion is about suppressing you and your divinity, Hyperianism is about expressing you, yourself, your divinity, your individuality, and our collective power as well. It's about the expression of the individual and the collective together, united. So we want to become God. We want to become divine. And so let's, real quick, Gero Afonso, thank you for helping us wake up the world. And OM Ment, thank you for helping us wake up the world, says, hi Morgue, any opinions on Leo from actualize.org? I found you via a comment in his channel. You are both amazing. Thank you for your work. I have watched a couple of his videos, and to be honest, the videos that I saw were actually extremely the opposite of Hyperianism. For example, one of his videos that I saw was all about how logic and reason is wrong, which is literally a crazy position. It's literally a crazy position because to try and use reason to argue against reason is insanity. So I don't know much about the individual. The videos I have seen, I don't agree with. However, I know he has a lot of videos. So maybe there are some things that we do agree on. So, you know, I don't want to say too much because if I'm going to say, oh, this person is great or this person is terrible, I want to know, I want to do my research and I want to know all about them and all about what they teach. From my cursory perusal, what I saw, I don't agree with. But that doesn't mean that everything that he does is wrong. I haven't seen his all of his work. So, you know, perhaps I'll do some research, and perhaps I can get a better picture of what this person talks about, and perhaps I'll in the future I would love to do videos on all the sort of YouTube gurus out there and say, like, this is what they get wrong, this is what they get right, here's what you need to watch out for, here are some, you know, things that aren't too bad. So perhaps at some point I'd take a look at that. But thank you. I'm glad that you found my channel via a comment on one of that person's videos. That's why it's always important to have the compass of reason with you, so you can be able to learn from certain things, but also point out the bullshit as well. That's why, you know, this applies to teachers sort of like Alan Watts and Terence McKenna. I love Alan Watts and Terence McKenna, but they also say a lot of bullshit. I mean, you know, sorry if you don't want to hear that, But it's true. It's true. And you can know this for a fact once you have integrated ontological mathematics and logic and reason. Terence McKenna and Alan Watts are very inspiring, but they get a lot wrong and they say a lot of bullshit as well. So you just have to be able to listen to things and be able to sift through it and find sort of the gold within the dirt. So I'd love to do videos I'd love to soon do a video about Alan Watts, to do a video about Terence McKenna and how you can, like for example, in my first book, The Metaphorical Suicide is dedicated to Friedrich Nietzsche, René Descartes, and Terence McKenna. So again, I have a lot of respect for that person, but they don't get everything right. Just like Friedrich Nietzsche. Friedrich Nietzsche is amazing, but does he get everything right? No, he doesn't. He gets a lot of things wrong. René Descartes, fantastic thinker. Does he get everything right? No, he doesn't get everything right. But you know, it's about understanding that. Man, you guys are asking such great questions today that I'm having a hard time getting to the actual topic, but we're making our way. Rick the Explorer says Alan Watts is amazing, but I know what Morgue means. Yeah, exactly. So, once again, Alan Watts, Terence McKenna, again, I think they're great, but you have to know when they are going in a dangerous direction that's actually antithetical to growth and evolution. So I'm going to do that. You know, one of these days, I'd love to do a live stream where we just, like, listen to, say, a lecture by Alan Watts or Terence McKenna, and we can listen to it and then stop it and be like, here are the great things about it. Here's what I agree with. Here are dangerous things to think about. Here are things that aren't so good, and why we need to be careful about them and why this is wrong. So I'd love to do that sometime. Once again, and I think you guys notice that I do this, say, you know, like we're reading The Secret Doctrine of the Rosicrucians right now. And as we read The Secret Doctrine, we go, okay, these elements, they're good and they're true, but they got some things very, very wrong here. You know, like when they're talking about the one as being infinite space. No, we know that's incorrect. The one is not infinite space. It's actually mind, which is zero extension, which is not space at all. Unmanifest space. So it's very important to look at these things through the lens of reason and sift through it. Chris X says, I really enjoy your work. We'll be purchasing your books. I hope you enjoy them, Chris X. Thank you for helping us wake up the world. And now I want to get to Tammy Horton. I didn't miss that. Tammy Horton, thank you so much. Tammy super chatted $50. Thank you so much, Tammy. Let's send, what shall we send to Tammy? And again, let's send some odd ostras to Tammy. Let's get that going in there. And so Tammy asks, great question. I would love to know your opinion on magic, specifically the lesser key of Solomon, and working with spirits or angels. So, great question. If you haven't seen it, I did a whole video on understanding magic, logically and rationally. Magic, I think it's called Magic Rationally Explained. What is magic? I love seeing those odd ostras for Tammy, by the way. Thank you so much, Tammy. Excuse me. So, if you haven't seen that video, definitely go check it out. That is a whole subject in and of itself. I would love to do another video expanding upon your question in particular. So when we're talking about things like the Lesser Key of Solomon, which has to do with which is basically a list of entities and invoking them and working with them and things like this. Basically what you're doing is you're working with archetypes. You are working with archetypes. So, and it's so hard to talk about any of these things in quick 5-minute answers because each one of these things could be an hour long. Magic could be an hour long. The Lesser Key of Solomon could be an hour long. What are archetypes could be an hour long. And all these things relate to each other and interlock. So basically it is a way of what magic is sort of a ancient way of understanding your psychology and your mind. So these entities are unconscious archetypes. So let me sort of explain it this way. So the Gnostics, we talk about the Gnostics a lot. They're a heretical Christian sect that viewed God as the devil, and our divine selves are trapped in this world of matter. So what the Gnostics believed was that as your soul descends into matter, you get clothed by demons that they called archons. Okay? You get so basically you're sort of like, as you descend into matter, you become composed of these archons, these demons. And these archons and demons would represent different things like hunger, sexuality, anger, and you see, but so what it really was is that it's a very ancient way of understanding psychology. You see how they would relate sort of being clothed in demons to psychological structures, right? Lust, anger, and all the different elements you could possibly imagine as being structures working within you. So this kind of relates to these magical systems are ways of calling upon psychological structures that exist within you as a mind. And we've talked about this before, and I'll say it again, these are archetypes, and this is why Jung's work is so based on Gnosticism. And Jung was the first one to bring the word archetype into psychology. And Jung was heavily interested in things like Gnosticism and alchemy and magic, because he realized that it was an ancient system for understanding yourself and understanding psychology. So we know, and archetypes are its own huge subject as well. Archetypes are both a pattern within your mind, but they can also relate to an actual mind that exists as well. And I always I use Kim Kardashian as an example of this, just because my knowledge of celebrity culture is very small, and I don't really know even what Kim Kardashian does, rather than is, you know, a lot of people copy her and she's into fashion. But just for example, look at Kim Kardashian, okay? This is an example of a negative archetype, right? But look at Kim Kardashian. I'm not pro Kim Kardashian, by the way. I'm just using this as an example. Kim Kardashian is a negative influence on this world, not a positive influence. But if you look at this individual, she exists. She exists as an actual person. But then do you notice that, you know, millions of people begin to copy her? They begin to emulate her. They begin to look like her, dress like her, talk like her, act like her. So what they're doing is, you know, Kim Kardashian is an archetypal pattern that people tune into, and then all these people who act like her have sort of the Kim Kardashian archetypal program in their mind. So each person has a copy of the archetype, the Kim Kardashian program, in their mind, but Kim Kardashian is actually a real person as well. So do you see how there's a dual aspect to it? There's Kim Kardashian as an archetype that exists, and then the copy that exists in the psychological structure of every person that's emulating her. Okay, same idea with ancient archetypes, okay? The ancient archetypes are minds that have actually existed, that you had a certain way of doing things that was effective, that other minds tuned into and integrated into their psychological structure, which exists in you today, and now those copies exists within minds. So they are both a mind that exists and a psychological structures that exists in you as well. A bit. And yeah, just to clarify, I'm not a fan of Kim Kardashian. And again, hey, you know, I'm not saying if you want to express yourself that way, it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that celebrity culture in itself is toxic, and brainwashes people into not being their true, authentic selves. We need positive archetypes that it has nothing to do with the particular way this person dresses. It has to do with the fact that, so let's say someone dressed like Kim Kardashian, but was also encouraging self-actualization, exploring yourself, understanding math and psychology and the true nature of existence and becoming divine and stepping into your power. Then that person would be a positive archetype. It's just that this person is for most part empty. I should know more about this person before saying that, but from everything that I have seen, this person seems to be an extremely negative archetype. But okay. Someone just joined and they're confused because they don't know why I'm talking about Kim Kardashian. We're talking about archetypes. We're talking about archetypes and psychological structures, and she's a good example of a negative pattern. So, let's continue here. And remember, guys, to hit like, smash like. If you're on Facebook, share this video and come on over to YouTube, subscribe, hit the like button. Remember, guys, we are having a secret patrons only supporter live stream right after this. A secret patrons only secret live stream right after this, and I'm going to show the secret patrons what is behind the black wall. Oh yes, we're removing the black wall and taking a peek behind the veil in the secret live stream. So if you want to be a part of that, that's the best way to support. I love hanging out with you guys in the secret live stream. And big shout out to all the supporters. Let's see, who was that? Who just did a thing? Quentin, thank you for helping us wake up the world. You have unlocked loyalty badges. So for those who have been following the actual topic that we're discussing today, we saw how that bad religion is a big obstacle to you and your growth, and how Hyperianism is the antidote to that, the structure that should replace it, because whereas bad religion is all about suppressing your divinity, Hyperianism is all about expressing your divinity. So bad science. So what does this mean? Bad science is also negative to your growth and the growth of the world. Now, why is that? Now, remember, Hyperianism is not anti-science. So many people think that. We are anti-bad science. Science is excellent for technology, creating medicine, and advancements like that. So, yes, always, listen to healthcare professionals, take advantage of technology, take advantage of scientific breakthroughs, things like that. Paulina G, thank you for helping us wake up the world. However, there is a big difference between being useful and being truthful. Science as it exists today, as scientific materialism, is useful but not truthful, in that it can create advancements in the world, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it is giving you the truth about existence. So, this current scientific paradigm is materialist. It is a faith in the senses. It is empiricist. And this is 100% antithetical to you and your divinity and understanding the world, because it says all you are is matter, lifeless atoms, and when you die, and that's it. This leads to nihilism, where life is purposeless, or hedonism, where there's absolutely no meaning to life except for maybe pleasure. So, it's important to understand that while science can have useful advancements in the world, it is 100% antithetical to understanding yourself and the world in what you truly are. It is, so what we want to do, what is the antidote to this, is ontological mathematics. We want to 100% replace scientific materialism with ontological mathematics. Because not only does ontological mathematics show that this is not a material reality, but a reality of mind, of waveforms. But once humanity understands this, and once all the great thinkers in the world start working on ontological mathematics rather than materialism, not only will we be able to make advancements with regard to personal evolution, collective evolution, and the soul and the mind, but by understanding the mental reality better, it means we'll be able to understand the physical world better as well, and we will be able to create even more breakthroughs, even more advancements in technology and medicine and things like this. So basically, it's not that science as it exists is, it's that it's extremely primitive. It's extremely primitive. It's helpful, but it's very primitive. It denies you in your divinity. It says that you are nothing but a collection of dead, lifeless atoms destined to rot in the ground. So by adopting ontological mathematics, which is a system based on logic and reason, and not a faith in the senses, it's rationalism rather than empiricism, we will be able to make incredible strides and advancements with regard to understanding the true nature of reality, ourselves, and the universe. And as a consequence of that, we will be able to make huge leaps and bounds and strides in technology and medicine in the physical world as well. We will be able to grow exponentially fast in comparison to the slow and sluggish and disconnected movement of science as it exists today. It is infinitely superior, and it's a system based on logic and reason and mathematics instead of the flawed interpretation and faith in the senses. We are a paradigm shift, just as there was a shift from Aristotle to Galileo to Newton to quantum mechanics. We are the next evolutionary shift. We are the next phase change. As Thomas Kuhn pointed out in his book, The Structure of Scientific Revolutions, science is not this linear progression of knowledge. Instead, it is marked by extreme revolutions that overturn the old paradigm and replace it by an entirely new paradigm. And we are the new scientific revolution of ontological mathematics that will completely overturn the old scientific paradigm of faith in the senses and matter and replace it with ontological mathematics, the pinnacle of reason, and reveals that this is a reality of mind, a mathematical existence, and we will be able to make strides in both the mental realm and understanding the mental nature of reality as well as the physical reality. So, okay, great transition here. William Tran says these advancements will be allowed as long as it's financially beneficial to the government. Hey, guess what? This leads us to the third barrier, bad government. As the government exists now, yes, you are correct. But that's one reason why the government is antithetical to your personal progress and world progress. Because ultimately, this is a capitalist world ruled by the rich elite. And yes, you're correct. As it currently stands, it doesn't give a fuck about any kind of advancements unless, as in the end goal, it leads to more money and the rich getting richer, which is completely bullshit and must be, the rule by the rich and oligarchy must be obliterated. And this must be replaced by a Hyperion. The antidote is a Hyperion meritocracy. So a Hyperion meritocracy is a teleological society that reduces, right? It's an evolving system that as it goes, reduces the emphasis on money and increases the emphasis on self-actualization and actualization as a collective. So we need to get rid of money as being the motivating factor and instead replace the motivating factor as being the evolution of you as an individual and us as a collective. This means that advancements will no longer be measured by how much money they make, but rather how much it improves your life as an individual and our life together as a collective. A Hyperion meritocracy connects us all together with the understanding that for someone to be able to lead, they must be compassionate. They must show reason, and they must have merit. They must understand what existence is. They must have talent and be educated in the field they wish to advance in, and they must have compassion. They must show care for the collective and the individuals that make up the collective as well. It is connected. All of us are connected by a unifying thread, and that unifying thread is that we all are based on logic and reason with the goal of achieving divinity, being the best version of ourselves that we can possibly be, and creating a cohesive, united world society in which we are all helping each other grow and actualize as individual minds to create that society of the divine. So this is precisely why we need an entirely new society and an entirely new world where we have that Abraxian consciousness, where we understand what we are, what we truly are, and we have a teleological goal striving for the actualization of ourselves and the world, to get rid of this capitalist society and replace it with a society based on personal and collective growth, creating a better world and a better humanity. So do you see how all these systems, the current systems of today, bad religion, the Abrahamic religions, the empirical materialist science, the capitalist systems, are all working hand in hand to suppress you and your growth and your divinity? It says God is outside of you. The world is nothing but matter. You're just a slave in a capitalist machine. Each one of these systems is constantly beating you down and bringing you down, lowering you, putting into a lower state of consciousness, whereas Hyperianism brings you to a higher state of consciousness, says you are God, you can become God, we are God. Ontological mathematics says this is not a reality of matter, it's a reality of mind based on sinusoidal waveforms, that reality is a cosmic mind coming to know itself through itself, of which we are individual nodes. And a Hyperion meritocracy, which is a teleological striving, a system implemented in the world that enables each and everyone to actualize their own personal divinity and our collective divinity together. So you see, the three negative systems of bad religion, bad science, and bad government must be replaced by three positive systems of Hyperionism, ontological mathematics, and a Hyperion meritocracy, which all works hand in hand to create a new glorious world. And I want you all to know and remember how important this moment is. We are that new paradigm shift. We are the ones who have come here to transform the world and change the world and make it a better place and usher in that revolution. We are the fallen angels creating the kingdom of God on earth. And what is the kingdom of God? It's our kingdom, because we are God. We are God, and we will create this world into our kingdom and in our image, not the image of some torturous monster, bearded voyeur who lives in the sky. No, to hell with that. This is our world. This is our creation. We created this place. We created the universe, and now it is time to claim our birthright, to claim what is ours. This is our creation, and we must claim it and shape it into our world, a glorious new world, a unified world where we are all working together to usher in that new future, to help each other as individuals and help each other as a collective. So important, guys. I really want to impress upon you how important this is, and to begin working on this, okay? What is so important? What must we do? Begin working on yourself as an individual, and also start spreading this information and spreading awareness. That's why things like just sharing these videos, liking these videos, telling people about our work is so important, because we are planting the seeds for a new world. We are growing so fucking fast. It's incredible, and we are only going to grow faster and faster and faster and faster, and we are all part of this. So begin to work on yourself, begin to understand this information, begin to grow as an individual and integrate this, because you are the vanguards of a new consciousness. So understand how important that is and what that means. So you have this sacred cause. You have this sacred cause that each and every one of us has, and it's up to us. The world isn't going to change. We're not just sitting on the sidelines going, oh yeah, the world is changing. No, we are the change in the world. We are the Heraclitean fires of change that will remake the world. So each and every one of you is a spark, and we will create that inferno as we change the world, transform this base metal into gold, and once again create a glorious shining beacon of reason, so bright that even the stars will be envious of our light. So important. What do you need to do? Work on yourself as an individual and spread information. Spread this information everywhere in preparation as we plant the seeds. We plant the seeds so that they will bloom and we will prepare for a glorious harvest. But that's what we must do. We must, everyone must be working on themselves and spreading the message at the same time. So spreading information, and again, it's about the individual and the collective. So big shout outs real quick. This is extremely important to me, and it's extremely important to all of us, and that's why I speak so passionately on the subject. But I want to say hello to you guys, because you guys, lots of comments here. Lots of comments here. Okay, so I want to say, let me thank some individuals. Did I miss some people? Thank you to a lot of people here. Toxic Pixie says you're awesome. Thank you, Toxic Pixie. Dana, Mazur, James Humphrey, Cynthia Keys, thank you so much. Says this is so important to everyone, not just those of us who get it and have begun the work, but everyone. 100% agreed. Thank you so much for getting this out there. You're doing such an amazing thing. Yes, absolutely, 100% agreed. This is so important for everyone, but we are the first to understand it, which is why we must prepare the way, right? We're sort of preparing the way. We are the leaders to bring the world into a new state of consciousness. This is why it falls upon us to be the vanguards of a new consciousness. We are the ones, cutting the path and blazing the trail. And we are those who are at a higher state of consciousness that must then help raise and bring up the rest of the world with us, so that we can step together finally into that Abraxian consciousness. Claire G, thank you so much. Claire G super chatted. Thank you so much, Claire. Says keep doing what you're doing. Together we can achieve our goal. Absolutely. Charity Pitcher and Sinclair, thank you for helping us wake up the world. Says love your passion, Morgue. Let's build a new world. Yes, yes. I mean, what else is there to be passionate about? What else is there to be passionate about except self-transformation and world transformation? Claiming what is ours. This universe is our creation. We created it, and now we must just stake our claim. We must plant our flag and be unafraid to claim what is ours. That is our creation, instead of those who have stolen it from us, which are the rich elite rulers of the world. All those who have stolen it, the rich elite rulers, the toxic religious leaders who try and give it to some made-up God in the sky. No, this doesn't belong to some made-up God in the sky. Fuck that. We are God, and it doesn't belong to those who have hoarded money like greedy dragons sitting upon what they have hoarded and held from the rest of the world. No, fuck that. Fuck the rich elite, and fuck the tyrannical, fictitious gods in the sky. We are God, and we are the creators of the universe, and this world is exists because of us. So now, let us build the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven, our world, because we are God. Now, here and now. It's about time. We've lived in hell long enough. This world has been hell and is hell for long enough. And it's time to transform it. It's time to transform it. Let's send Claire. That was really nice of you, Claire, and I don't want to miss that. Claire, let's send Omega Spheres for Claire. I think that is appropriate for what we are speaking about today. Let's send those Omega Spheres in the chat to Claire. Thank you so much for helping us wake up the world. So someone says, I'm curious as how we go about buying items like entertainment items. that are necessary. Okay, so first of all, I'm not saying that we should get rid of entertainment. Entertainment is extremely important and necessary. But I don't think that's what you meant. So basically, I need to do a whole video about Hyperion meritocracy and how it would work, but we're not trying to abolish money right away. We're trying to reduce the emphasis on money. So there would be systems in place to make sure that the rich elite couldn't come to power, and that money wouldn't be a deciding factor on what is money wouldn't be a deciding factor for like scientific research and things like that. We're not trying to get rid of money right away. If you tried to get rid of money tomorrow, the world would be in chaos because it relies on that system right now. So a Hyperion meritocracy is a teleological and also a dialectical system, which means that it's constantly evolving. So when it is first put into place, it will make incremental changes. So it's a system that will, in the beginning, reduce the emphasis on money, not obliterate money entirely. Because once again, we have to understand and be realistic about how this world works and how people currently work. If you got rid of money tomorrow, it would be chaos. We just wouldn't be able to do it. We have to have a new consciousness and things like this. So as we implement a Hyperion meritocratic system, it's dialectical and makes incremental changes. It's a system of transition. So it will begin to reduce the emphasis on money rather than just overnight obliterating money. That would be chaos and destructive, and no progress would come from that. The world would be in ruins. So it's a system that is evolving and makes changes based on the state of the world at the present moment. So the main important thing to begin with is reducing the emphasis on money. Money shouldn't be a controlling factor, and it shouldn't be who designates who rules the world, which is completely disgusting. Billionaires are not something that should exist. Okay, let me see here. So as again we look at these three the three toxic systems that are bad government, which really is about capitalism and the rich elite. All right, that's the core of the issue there. Bad religion and bad science. And this is what we need to do to make strides and advancements in these areas. Hold on real quick. Thank you to Luck Lucy and Crystal Moon for helping us wake up the world. Thank you so much, Crystal. Crystal says, "What a beautiful mind. So glad I stumbled across your videos." I'm glad you found us as well. Thank you so much, Crystal. Let's send. What should we send for Crystal? Let's send some Ad Astras for Crystal. Thank you so much. There are so many great questions here today. This is a fantastic stream, and I'm really happy to see so many of you guys here asking these excellent questions, because that shows that you're really understanding the material, you're really understanding what we're about, and are really getting it. That's why I love this community, and it means so much to me, because not only are we growing incredibly fast, but it's the passion between each and every one of you who supports this and who is a part of this. Right? This isn't some fucking channel where you're just watching some guy play video games or talking about, well, these are my. No, this is something the world has never seen before and is world historic. So once again, not only are we growing so incredibly fast, but I'm so happy to see the passion behind each and every single one of you for personal and world transformation. And yes, I see a lot of people saying Million Monad March in the comments. Million Monad March, that's right, hashtag MMM. So we have recently reached 100,000 subscribers and smashed our goal for 100,000 subscribers, and we are now on the Million Monad March, the March to a Million, which is our goal for 1 million subscribers. on YouTube. So that's absolutely right. So by the way, if you are on Facebook, come on over to YouTube and subscribe right now. That is a great way that you can help us get this information out there and help us on our Million Monad March. Make sure so that you do that. Come on over and I'll shout you out if you say, if you let me know that you are there. Yes, I love seeing all the hashtags MMM in the comments. That's excellent. And Darcy, thank you so much for helping us wake up the world. Darcy says, power and unity, love this community, new world order. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Darcy. And Jade Phoenix, thank you for helping us wake up the world. Says, I'm watching this while at work. I love every video that you do. I'm glad. Thank you so much. And Darcy, that was awesome. Ad Astra, Darcy. Let's send some signs of New Terra out for Darcy. And that's something I want you guys to remember too. I have a new video coming out very, very soon. It's most likely going to come out on Saturday. What's today? Thursday? It's most likely going to come out on Saturday, and it's extremely important. It's about the 3 Hyperion perspectives, all right? Understanding the Avatar, Monadic, and Abraxian or Absolute perspective, okay? So the Avatar, the Monadic, and the Abraxian perspective, and how to understand and switch between these perspectives, which is fundamental to Hyperionism. So that video is extremely important. It's going to be coming out on Thursday, so make sure that you keep an eye out for that, because that's how we transform the world as well, right? This applies. These perspectives apply to everything. The Avatar, Monadic, and Abraxian perspective. From the Avatar perspective, we realize that we live in a physical world with bodies. From the Monadic perspective, we understand that we are individual eternal minds that must self-optimize and grow across lifetimes. And from the Abraxian perspective, we realize that we are in an interconnected, united system where we are all one, so that we also must work on the evolution of the collective. And not just simply the individual. And this all permeates between all levels. This is why from the Avatar or the physical perspective, we must reflect the Monadic and Abraxian perspective by using our avatars to build a physical world that reflects the truth that we are individual eternal beings that must self-optimize, that exist in a collective system using that Abraxian consciousness to create that new world. So look out for that new video, which is fundamental to Hyperionism. Those 3 perspectives, fundamental to Hyperionism, which is coming out on Saturday, most likely. Thank you, Chris. I'm glad you enjoy the videos. Okay, my friends, God, I don't really want to go because this is a fantastic stream and I love hanging out with you guys, but we're going to have our secret patrons only supporters live stream. And hey, we're going to have some fun in that live stream, and I'm going to show you what's behind the black wall. It's going to be fun. So if you want to support, that's the best way to support is on Patreon. I'll put the link in the comments right now, and we're going to have a secret patrons only live stream in just a few minutes here. So I'll put the link in the comments. Once again, that's the best way to support, and I'm going to see you guys all there. And let me see. I want to give a big shout out to all the awesome supporters here who supported for the super chat today. Big shout out to Tammy Horton, who was our top supporter. Thank you for helping us wake up the world, Tammy. And so many people, just to name a few: Crystal, Claire, Paulina, Aaron, Maria, so many people, and apologies if I missed you. Shout out to our moderators for always doing an amazing job, and each and every single one of you. Once again, if you can't support, via membership or money, that's totally fine. I completely understand. Every single one of you that watches these videos, likes these videos, and shares these videos is incredibly helpful. So if you want to support, guess what? The best way you can do it: share. If you're on Facebook, hit that share button. Share. If you're on YouTube, hit that like button. hit that subscribe button. Share the YouTube link on your Instagram profile, on your Facebook profile, on all your profiles. You know, tell people about our movement. Start spreading this information out there. Start telling people who would be interested in this, getting people to watch, getting people to understand this new level of consciousness and what it is that we are talking about. Because once again, we are the trailblazers. So the duty falls upon us as the trailblazers to carve that way for others. We want to bring the world up to a higher consciousness with us. That's our mission, to raise the frequency of this world. So we are part of that. That is what we are doing. That is our sacred cause, our divine mission as divine beings and divine entities here to transform the world. All right. So good to see you guys. Fantastic always. Once again, shout out to everyone. Look out for the new video coming out on Saturday. Make sure you see it. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you have the bell turned on for all notifications so that you will be notified of that. And I'm going to see everyone in the secret live stream pretty much in just a few minutes. So good to see you all here. And remember, let's create a beautiful new society, one where we are working on our personal transformation and world transformation, full of systems that aren't suppressing and repressing you, but rather expressing you and your divinity and our collective divinity. Remember, this universe is our creation, so it's time that we transform this world and claim what is ours. So good to see you, my friends, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Ad Astra, to the stars.